everybody.
Hola.
Hola.
Hola, Nando.
Hola, ¿cómo están?
Hola, Ricardo, Javier, Andy, David, Johan. El equipo está aquí.
We are here.
Hi, Roberto.
Hi, Roberto.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
How are you?
Fine.
So it looks like we're all here. We have Inteligentemente, we have Tecma, we have Somos, we have SmartStop, we have Bookstar, and we have Científica. That's exciting. It's rare that we have everybody, so this is a great day.
Full deck.
Full day. Yeah. Okay, so today what we would like to focus on is really the deck, the most important thing moving forward. So the most important thing moving forward for every meeting is going to be your deck and your pitch. Hang on just a second.
Much better, I think.
Yeah, just a little bit too bright here. So, you know, the...
Oh, and Heidi's here. Yay!
Wow. So, hi, Heidi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, how are you?
Voy a tener más cables.
Okay, wonderful. So, what we're going to do is we'd like to take you through the deck. And then we'd like each of you to just show us your current investor deck. And then what we can do is give you some homework in terms of how the deck should be improved. Because you all had meetings with investors last week, we're hoping that your decks are looking pretty good. But decks can always be improved.
Exactly.
So,
and again, a deck is, as you will go through this process, it will go through multiple changes and iterations, so be prepared for that. But also the sample deck, the sample investor deck has been loaded onto the plataforma, onto the canvas. So you have that accessible to you.
I couldn't find where it was. I tried to show it yesterday.
Oh, really?
But,
unless it was refiled somewhere. Let me see.
let me just share my screen.
While you're doing that, let me look at...
So is everyone familiar with this deck?
Yes.
I know, Roberto, I showed this to you yesterday. But what about everyone else? Has everyone seen this deck?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so we're just going to quickly go through the deck, and just so everybody is aware of why it looks like this. And so, in terms of it all comes down to how investors think. So the way investors think when they meet an entrepreneur is there's a number of upfront questions that the investor has in their mind when they meet with an entrepreneur. The first question they typically have for the entrepreneur is, what are you doing? What is your company about? What's your product? They just want to know really what area you are, building products for. And the reason they do that is because they don't invest everywhere. A lot of investors can be very specialized. So, for example, there are investors that only invest in edtech, educational companies. So if you bring to them a company that's not education oriented, they're not going to be interested. They may be able to tell you about other companies, other investment firms. Same with angels. Angels don't invest in everything. So for example, somebody might be a healthcare investor. And so if you bring an ag tech deal to a healthcare investor, they're not going to be interested. So every investor has a specialty. Some are more broad-based, but that's the firm. That's not the person. People are not broad-based typically. Firms can be broad-based, but people are not. And if they are broad-based, that means they will have multiple partners, and each partner will typically have a specialty. Now that partner, if you know that the firm invests in your area, and you meet with an investor at that firm, and it sounds interesting what they're doing, or what you're doing, they may refer you to somebody else at their firm. But, if they tell you that they don't really know much about this area, you don't want to get into a lot of detail with them. All you would do is, indicate that you have, something very interesting, and if they could make an intro to a partner who is, in this particular area, then it would be more interesting, for them, and maybe you can get a meeting set up. So keep in mind what's the purpose of a deck? A deck, the sole purpose of this deck is to get a meeting with an investor. That's really all. You're not going to get funded off of the deck. A lot of entrepreneurs think that the deck leads to funding. It doesn't, okay? A deck leads to a meeting, if it's good enough. Because lots of times, investors want to send the deck first, and they'll take a look at it, and they'll let you know if they're interested in having a meeting. What gets invested in is you. You are what gets invested in, not the deck. So the deck tells a story, and you're telling the story using the deck, and you and your team and what you've accomplished and your vision, that's what gets funded. And the reason that the deck doesn't, lead to the funding is because, at the end of the day, it's just a few slides. There's a lot more that's not going to go into the deck that you talk about at the meeting. This is just really a calling card, if I like to think about it. It covers the key questions that investors typically have, and it gets those out of the way. So rather than them playing 20 questions and asking you this question and that question and the other question, and it taking a lot of time, you quickly get all the questions that they have, and you provide all the answers to those basic questions. But then once all those are out of the way, then the real discussion begins. Okay? The real discussion is the Q&A between you and the investor. And so this deck discussion probably should only run around 20 to 25 minutes. Hang on just a moment. Okay. Should only run about 20 to 25 minutes. It can run longer if they're interactively talking to you while you're going through the slides. It could take an hour. But that's okay too. So there's two different formats for giving the deck discussion. Either you give the whole thing and then take questions, or people jump in and ask you different questions based on where you are in the deck.
Sorry to interrupt. Do you want to upload it as a PDF?
Yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't find it either, but I know I unloaded it.
Okay. So, any questions about that? Okay. So the deck's purpose is getting a meeting, right? That's all. You are then making, the sale yourself, and what you're doing is you're answering basic questions that they might have. First question they have is, what are you doing? And then if there's not a good fit, they move on. Sorry, I don't invest in that. No, you're too early. I'm not interested in that space. We've already invested in that space. We've invested in your number one competitor. So there's a lot of different things that can come back. And so most of the time investors are trying to not have a meeting with everybody that they talk to. What happens is investors have money, entrepreneurs need money, and so as soon as somebody comes into the room with money, all of the entrepreneurs run to the investor, right? And because they're all running to the investor is trying to figure out quickly how to say no. And there's a lot of different things that they say, not interested in your space, you invested already, blah, blah, blah. These are the different things. If you say, what you say about your company, it has to be short, because again, they're just listening, and when they're listening, they are trying to figure out, the response as fast as possible. If you take minutes and minutes and minutes, they're just going to say, I'm sorry, it's taking too long. Send me an email. I need to talk to somebody else. Because there's always a lot of entrepreneurs coming to the investor. So it has to be quick, fast, impactful. If it's just quick and it doesn't say anything, they're going to say, sorry, I don't understand. I don't have time to talk to you. Let me talk to this person over here. So it has to be impactful. It has to make them stop and say, okay, I'm very interested in this. So that's really the message on this first slide. Very critically important, because this is what's going to capture the attention. It's the most important slide, because if they say they don't get it, they don't understand, they're not going to see anything else, And so, but this has to be in your head, because you're going to be saying to the person, this is what I do, and they either show interest or not. If they're interested, it's like, okay, can we set up a meeting? Maybe, here's my email, send me a deck, right? Then you're going to send them a deck, and then they're going to come back, and they're going to say yes or no, they're interested in setting up a meeting, and, then you can move forward. So the first question is, what do you do? And that's really here, and that should not just be on the slide, that should be in your head, should be in your mouth, should be what you say to your investors, okay? Very important. Any questions about that? No. Okay. Then they may be interested in your area, but now they want to quickly evaluate, a couple things. Team is the most important, right? Once you get past, that they're interested in your general area, they want to really know, does the team have any experience? Is the team capable? So the more that you can show that this is a great team, the more interested they are. They do not invest in products. Product is not what they're interested in. So you can come up and say, oh, I've got a great product. They don't care. There's a lot of investors that are coming out and saying, I don't even want to see a demo of your product. I really don't care about your product at all. The only people that care about your product are your customers. I'm not your customer, so I don't care about your product. What they care about is they care about the team. Okay, they care about the market.
We often talk about this here in Silicon Valley. We sometimes joke about the fact that you can have a A-grade product with a B-grade team. It will not succeed as much as a B-grade product with an A-grade team.
Yes.
The reason is that it comes down to the execution.
Yes.
So the investor really is focused on the team and how well the team can execute.
Yeah. So if you come to an investor, you push product, they're going to get turned off. They're going to be, I'm not interested. Go away. Come back later when you have something to talk to me about. So keep in mind they're focused on financial things, they're focused on team, they're focused on stage, they're focused on funding. So they want to know, why is your team so great? Then they want to know your stage, because again, it could be too early. I just sent a deck to an investor last night, and he just came back to me a few moments ago and said, I'm sorry, your company's too early. It would be great to meet with them a little bit later. So other times they may be in early stage and you're sending them a company that's too late.
That's
And
happened to us
so
as
that
well.
happens as well. I'm sorry, we only invest when the company is at an earlier stage. So yes, we're interested in your space, we love your team, but we do not invest in this stage of company. So again, they will say no, right? Because they don't invest in that stage.
And here I just wanted to mention, if you see on our sample deck, if you have customers and you've got a great pipeline, good prospects in that pipeline, this is the point to mention that you have branded customers and strong pipeline. Because think about it, what is the best proof or evidence that you actually have a great product? I know that the investor, we just said, the investor doesn't really care about the product. Here's the thing. If the investor sees that you have strong branded customers and a very strong pipeline, that's proof, that's evidence that you do have a great product. Because if you didn't have a great product, you wouldn't have great customers.
Exactly. See, the investor is saying, I don't know what's a good product.
But your
customers
customer
know what a good product is, so why should I look at your product? If you can show me that you have great customers and they like it, that's important. That's the only thing that's important from my standpoint, because your customers are telling me you have a great product. I'm not an expert, your customers are. So just show me what your customers are saying. Show me what your customers are doing. Show me they're engaged. Show me they're spending money. All these kinds of things are what they use to find out if you have a great product or not. So again, so the stage is very important, and then who is doing what with your product, and then funding. So how much have you raised and how much are you raising? So again, maybe they would feel...
And even here, the stage of company that you're at, how much funding you're trying to raise, that's also very, very tailor-made or matched to the investor. Because if the investor is a later stage investor and you're an early stage company and you're raising a smaller round, larger investors will say, sorry, you're too early for us. We don't invest small amounts of money. We write big checks.
Yeah.
So come back to us when you're a little bit later on, and then we can write you a bigger check.
Yeah.
Or you might be a slightly later stage company and you're piecemealing, smaller amounts. The investor might say, you're raising too much money. I can't afford that. Maybe I'll come in as a follow-on investor. Once you have a lead, maybe I'll syndicate. So where you're at in terms of stage, how much money you're trying to raise is all very matched to what the investor likes to do.
Yeah. So keep in mind, just because somebody's an investor, that does not mean that they want to invest in your company. The chance of getting a match is actually very low. It's like sales. You can meet 10 people on the street and try to sell them your product. Chances are, very few of them will actually be interested. Unless you have a B2C product. But if it's enterprise, very few are going to be the right fit. Even if you have a B2C product, a lot of people will still say no because they're working with a competitor, they don't have any interest in your area, etc., etc. So again, this is like a sale, and you've got to know, being sophisticated, and investors really like this, is if you can tell quickly that they're not a good fit, then they see you, or they are a good fit, they'll see you as being very smart, savvy, and they'll like you. And even if they're not right,
yes.
if they like you, they might make
we saw this happen with one of our clients just last week, where he said, you're a little early stage for us, but we really like you. So guess what? We're going to make you. And so when the entrepreneur went back and said, can you recommend other people I can talk to? He recommended him to go talk to the right person at another investment firm that does invest in early stage in this space, and he got a meeting right away. So because again, even though he was early stage for this investor, the investor liked him and said, I really like what you're working on.
And again, same with a sale. You go and you impress someone, they're like, well, I'm really not interested in your product, or I can't buy it this year, but I have a friend.
Yes.
He's at another company, he's looking for this.
Referrals are definitely worth it.
Yeah. but that won't come if they don't like you, right? If you meet a late-stage investor and you push and push and push, and they're saying, no, I'm not interested, and you just keep going on and on and on, and you don't realize that, you know, they're not a good fit, they're going to just blow you off and then say, sorry, I'm busy, and they're not going to follow up with you at all. So there's what's called etiquette between investors and startups. And if you follow correct etiquette, you can win a lot of favor from investors, even from people that will not invest themselves. And all the investors know each other. So
it's a very small,
and that's here in Silicon Valley.
And even in Colombia, I think it's a pretty tight, it's very tight. It's a small community.
Yeah.
And so it really is to your best advantage to create that strong impression. If you connect with the investor, even if the investor doesn't invest in you, if they're impressed with you, they can recommend you to other people.
Yeah. So again, you know, they want to know what you're doing, general area. Then they want to know about your team, stage, and funding. So when they get the deck by email, so if you talk to them and you have these things in your head, and then they bring them back, you know, afterward, and you send them an email, they may not be the right person, but maybe there's somebody else in their firm, but they can double check what they've heard, and they either come back and say, no, it's not a good fit, or yes, I sent this to my partner, he or she is looking at it, I think they're going to set up a meeting, they'll get back to you. So again, this is very quickly answering the investor's questions. Most entrepreneurs, all they do is they start with product. We know that you know that's not the right thing to do, but if you just start with product, again, the investor's not interested. That's not answering their questions, and that's not going to help them make a decision. After they get through all those things, they want to understand what part of the market you are in and what you think is the speed of growth.
Yes.
And so if you indicate that you're in a good market, and a lot of entrepreneurs make a mistake here, we've seen this already when we were going through the homework, is people look at the whole market and they say, oh, it's a massive market, but they're only looking at a tiny, tiny piece of it. Right, the difference between the TAM and the SAM and the SOM. And so they're really only interested in the SOM. They're not interested in the TAM. And most entrepreneurs put up the TAM, and then the investor looks at it and says they don't really understand what market they're in. They become unimpressed, and they may not take a meeting just because they think you don't understand your market. So again, each slide is critical. You're building trust with the investor, you're making it clear you're a good fit with them, and then you're showing them that you really understand how to present the information to them. You're giving them what they need. Nothing makes an investor angrier than getting information in the right order, but that's completely wrong, right? They will just stop at this slide, you know, click,
Well, this is why we've been having you do all of the homeworks and all of the assignments and the workshops in this way, because every single slide draws from what we've had you already do. So you actually have all the information available to you through the course of the last 6 months, right? So it's now a matter of taking that information that you already put together, that you might have to iterate a couple more times, that you already have that information available to you, and now it comes up on the slide.
Yeah. And, you know, then you talk about it quickly. And each of these is 30 seconds to a minute, no longer. Very short, very to the point, and, you know, the investor wants the information very quickly, wants it to be correct, and wants it to be, you know, compelling. So that's what you're doing with each of these slides. So again, now we've come to the market. They want to make sure that you understand your marketplace. Now you get to a more detailed level in the market. Who are you selling to? Who cares about your solution in that marketplace? And what's their pain? Because if there's no pain, then they're not going to be interested in your solution.
Notice on this slide, one additional point on this slide, when you're expressing the pain point, it's not a tactical pain point. It's a business pain point for businesses. For if you're a B2B business, it's something, usually it's, you're trying to either reduce cost or improve their revenue or improve their competitive advantage sometimes. There's a lot of different values you're providing. Remember, we talked about pain points and value propositions. Here, what you're saying is if they didn't have your solution, what is that net business pain, right? And so that's really what this slide is capturing. For a B2C, you're really trying to capture what the pain, what kind of pain the consumer is facing, and there may be a net pain that you can express in terms of not necessarily a business sense, but there are important, like for example with Bookstart, the fact that you're losing a member of your family, this is a real pain.
Or that you want to connect.
Or that you want to connect with other people because you don't have a forum in which you can express all the things you're interested in. That's a pain.
Those are serious pains. I mean, with Uber, what's the pain there? Well,
exactly.
In New York, it's the taxi drivers are terrible. They won't pick you up. They overcharge you. They won't pick you up when it's raining. There's all kinds of pains for Uber. I mean, I didn't use taxis. I use Uber for my kids all the time right now. And, what was the pain? Well, I had to do it before.
Yeah.
I had to take out time from my day and go and drive for 30 or 40 or an hour. And I don't have that kind of time. Now I pay Uber and I can track everything.
But I think the tracking is really important,
critical.
right?
If I
Because
couldn't do that, I
if
wouldn't
you
use
call
it.
a taxi, sure they'll come, but you might not be able to see on an app where are they located, where are they going, where are they coming. So that tracking.
You don't know how much it costs.
Exactly.
You don't know anything about the
So the lack of transparency with that mode of transportation is a real pain for the consumer. So Uber solves that because there's a real transparency in terms of price, in terms of location, where they're going, coming, the route that they're taking, the security.
Yeah.
So all of those things, that transparency is a critical selling point for Uber.
So
even with
have a
consumers,
pain,
yeah,
right?
even for
Have a pain.
consumers, there's a real pain that you're trying to solve.
If taxis were so great, Uber would not make any money, and they would not be a worldwide phenomenon. So there's got to be a problem with taxis. Otherwise, Uber could not, be the multi-billion-dollar, company.
Exactly.
So they are looking at that pain of providing a much better solution. So, okay, so after that, you can have other information from an expert who validates the pain you're talking about. Because just because you say there's pain, the investors may not necessarily believe that. But if you can get an expert to support you.
And this is from your research.
Yes, then they can say, oh, okay, it's not just you saying this, experts are saying this. So that helps make your case, makes it more compelling. Now it's all about your solution, right? So one thing here that is sometimes a disconnect. Yeah, here. Something that is a disconnect often between you mean slide share?
Yeah,
this one?
yeah.
Presentation mode?
Yeah.
No, I want to be able to see, the whole flow.
Awesome.
So the key thing here that often happens is back here you're specifying a pain, right? You're saying higher costs, costly onboarding, wasted money, lack of transparency, and things like this. What happens often is the solution does not address the pain. So people will come up with the pain slide, they'll be very diligent, they'll indicate all of these things, but then the solution will talk about other things. It will talk about convenience, or it will talk about, ease of deployment, or it will talk about things that have nothing to do with the pain. And so what's going to happen is the investor is now going to get very confused. They're saying, well, yeah, you've identified a whole bunch of pain in the market, but your solution slide doesn't address any of that pain.
There's a mismatch.
There's a mismatch. So I got your value proposition. It's supported by, experts, but your solution doesn't address the pain that you've identified. So, sorry, it's great to this point, you need to go back and really think about making a better solution that addresses your pain points, because this, doesn't do it. And they'll say, we'll come back in, 3 months, 6 months, when you've got it all figured out, we'll have another meeting. And now you've lost 3 or 6 months, right? And it's that fast and it's over. So you've got to make sure that your solution addresses the pain on your pain slide, and also on a point-by-point basis, right? And so we were talking about lower revenue, now we're saying higher revenue, we're talking about lower efficiency, we've got greater efficiency. We were talking about long onboarding, this is saying shorter onboarding. We were talking about inefficient, unmotivated teams. There we've got productive and motivated ops teams. So you want your solution to
one-to-one correlation.
A painkiller, right? Keep in mind it's a painkiller. And that's what they're looking for. They're looking for those painkillers we talked about.
Any questions so far?
Yeah, any questions about that? Is that straightforward? And we're building the story, right? We're building the story about the market, about the pain, about the customers, and about your solution.
I have a question regarding this part.
Sure.
So you will tell us that one thing is an investor and like other kind of investors that could help us in an early stage of the company. So,
yes.
So this is something that we already talked some time ago about the intellectual property in this kind of things, or any confidential agreement or something like that. So when you're talking with an investor, which maybe he says, okay, you are great guys, but at the stage and so on, but I don't know, suddenly we see that maybe this guy really have a company that are doing something very similar, and maybe they adopt the idea, and let's say it could be feel like a stolen idea or something like that.
Sure.
It's common that it happened there, for example, because here
it's not common. It can happen, but it's not common. Typically, investors most investors will say, if they're already invested in a space,
they'll say no.
They will tell you, no, we're not interested, we're already in this space.
Yeah.
And actually, if you've done your homework,
that's the key.
That's,
you do your homework.
When you don't go in blind ever. You always do your homework and say, what have they invested in? What have they, now you don't know what they've looked at, you can see what they've invested in. So certainly they may have looked at another company in your space but decided not to invest in it, or maybe there is something in process. If you haven't seen any public information that they've invested in this space and you approach that investor, usually the investor will say, we're looking at that space already. In fact, we're already talking to a company in this space. Most of them will be pretty upfront about it.
Yeah.
There's always the risk that you're giving an investment deck to somebody, and yes, this is sort of quote-unquote confidential information. That's why the way in which you build this deck, you're not really revealing every single algorithm, every single secret sauce, secret weapon you have in your arsenal, right? Because that's something that you won't do until you actually go into due diligence.
And this is the thing that all the investors say. They say, we are financial people.
Yeah.
If you're sending us confidential information, we don't want to look at it. We don't care about it, right? So they say it's your mistake if you send us confidential information. It's not anything.
Particularly from an IP standpoint.
Yeah. They say, we don't care about your confidential information. We'd like to know you have it. Don't send it to us. Send it to your lawyer. We don't want to look at it. So what you need to do is a couple important things in here. First thing is you need to do your homework. Okay? So you need to make a list of the investors that you think would be a great fit with your company. You don't want to go out just random investors, okay? Most of them are going to be a wrong fit. Too early, too late, not the right space, investing in your competition. So make sure you do your homework. The thing is look at all of your competitors. Look at who's invested in them.
Yes.
Make sure that if you meet those people, you don't tell them anything. You don't even tell them that you exist. You don't go up to them. You don't talk to them. So do not talk to your competitors' investors. And make a hit list. These are the investors that in the past have invested in your space. Their companies have been successful. They really look like they understand what you do. And, you know, maybe it's not available in Colombia. All this information is public knowledge. There's so many websites you can go to for Silicon Valley. You can go to Crunchbase on every investor, every investment, every company. You can go to CB Insights. You know, there's a lot of public information on CB Insights.
PE Hub.
There's PE Hub. There's also AngelList. AngelList.co, if you're not already on there, get onto AngelList. So all of these sites have freely available information. CB Insights is not all free. Actually, it's very expensive for the paid information. It's about $25,000 a year for their basic subscription. But there is a lot of free information though about top investors, and they have a lot of articles that are out there, and you can subscribe to their newsletter. So let me put into here CB Insights, Crunchbase. We use these all the time. PE Hub. There's also AngelList. And this one is AngelList.co. Also, I'm always tweeting. So if you do @_jwoods57, you can subscribe to me.
This is a shameless plug.
Yeah. And you can get all the updates on who's investing in what on a daily basis. So I'm constantly on Twitter letting people know what's going on. So these are some good sources of information. And so in terms of the technical, these slides, you could have one, you could have two, you could have three. We have three, but you don't have to show all three.
No.
You could show one. And if you're going to show one, just show this one.
And it could even be something like your architecture diagram.
Yeah, which is exactly
what we had you do in one of the earlier assignments. We
Yeah.
said go develop a architecture diagram. So it can be your architecture diagram for this.
The idea is they want to see that you actually know and have at least some infrastructure that looks scalable.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
So the main thing for B2B and B2C is scale. So they want to see, I mean, one thing they can't see from your existing customers is scalability.
Yes.
And so yes, maybe they're financial people, but they want to hear you talk about scalability. And that's why we had people come in and talk to us and you about scalability.
Scalability and extensibility.
Yeah, because those are the two things that will kill a startup, is not being able to scale and not being able to add new features, not being able to connect to other systems.
And even if you've built your MVP on something that is not quite scalable, like let's say you're using MySQL instead of what's the latest in terms of a database, you're not using Mongo or Cassandra or something really great, you're just saying, well, we're going to start with MySQL just to develop proof of concept. Or an MVP version. They want to see, though, ultimately in your roadmap saying, currently we're doing MySQL, but we're migrating to this because we want this to be a scalable infrastructure.
Yeah, and one of our entrepreneurs that we're working with out here who's meeting with investors on a weekly basis, when he comes to this slide, he puts up his architecture and he says, we know how to scale. In my last company, I did such and such. You can see here I have tens of thousands of URLs, so not only is it scalable, it's very hard to copy, and we can take on hundreds of thousands and millions of users, and we have no issue with that. And then he'll also go and say, on our advisory board, we have one of the top 17 people
engineers
at Google, top principal engineers at Google, is one of the 17 people who make sure that Google.com never goes down. And he's helping us figure out how to make this the most powerful site in our area. So investors hear that and they're like, oh my God, okay.
You're the next best thing since sliced bread.
Okay, we know you can scale, we know you're sensible, you got the experience, you got the advice. Fine, we like it. Go on, right? So again, it's short, it's quick, you're not diving into too much detail, you're just focused on scalability, extensibility, and why, your advisors and your team are so good.
The details will come out in a due diligence process. Very often, once you get into due diligence, all of your IP, the real product architecture, all of that will come about, and they will bring technical people on to the meetings to make sure that all of that checks out.
So but usually later stage.
But it's later stage.
Yeah, earlier stage.
Earlier stage, this is perfect.
But, for later stage, like this is Series A deck. Series A deck, you need a little bit more detail because it gets, you will have big data experts in the room, and they'll be looking at a lot of different companies, and they'll want to know, again, this is high-level stuff. You could give this deck to your competitor, and it's not going to really mean anything because it doesn't have any code, and it's probably the same thing they're doing or aware of. So it's, again, high-level. And so that's the level. But for your stage, which is early, all you need is a market picture diagram. Any questions on that? Okay. So then you've already done this as a competition. They just want to make sure that you have looked out at the market and you feel you are better than everyone else. And why? They are, again, probably active in this space. They'll have seen similar competitive analysis. And if they see a lot of companies that you're not considering, they're going to say, I don't think you really understand this market.
Yeah.
And then they're again going to be feeling maybe you're too early, maybe your team is not strong enough. So every slide is telling a story. And if each slide you can lose, okay? So they could come here and say, well, I was interested, but I don't feel you have a good grasp of the competition. So why don't you go back, because we don't think that you're really differentiated well enough, and work a bit more, come back in 3 months. Okay? So it's possible that each slide, if you have a weak slide, that weak slide can basically, stop you from moving forward.
Now, with competition, I'll have to say, a lot of you might say, well, there's no direct competition. So not having direct competition is okay. You might have partial competition. As this slide shows, there's partial competition on some of those elements. Or you might have people that are developing similar solutions, but maybe not for your sector. So they might have, for example, Somos. One of the reasons why we encourage you to look at the healthcare space in the US is because the location analytics technology is pretty widespread now in the transportation area and some other areas, right? Retail centers, etc. But the healthcare area doesn't have as much competition. So you can say, yeah, we know about people like Euclid or whomever, but they're in other spaces. We're not really playing in that space, or we're not going to be focusing on that space. We've already done that. And so, or for example, Ecotecma, you might say, look, we know other people that are in crop technology, big data, predictive analytics in the crop tech area. But the crops that they're focusing on is wheat or barley or something, and you're like, we're not interested in that. We're interested in coffee, and we're going potentially into wine as the next market. So you can absolutely qualify yourself and saying we're targeting a particular sector that our competition is not even looking at.
Yes. So again, this has to be very strong slide. They worry a lot about competitors that they do not see on your slide, because those can be, again, invested in by other investors.
Absolutely.
And make them look stupid. Investors do not like to look stupid. So they're going to be, this can create a lot of risk for them if they just trust you that you have done a good job, and they end up investing in you, and your technology and customer base and everything is actually outdated, and there's a much better solution that is now on the market and is in the process of getting funded. All of a sudden it's like, oh my God, we invested in a company that has very weak in comparison to competition, we're going to lose all our money.
Exactly.
And they've just made it, and they'll feel terrible. So they'll get very angry with you, and you'll have very bad board meetings, and it's just not a very good start to, you know, an investment relationship. Because again, the investment relationship is like, you know, like a marriage. So, like if, you know, your husband or wife all of a sudden, after you get married, realize that there was somebody else available who's a lot better than you are. They're going to feel really bad. So
nobody wants to be
there. Okay, so now this is the trophy slide, what we call the trophy slide. This is your customers, your onboarding, you know, your pipeline. What you want with this one, if this is very strong, you can move this up to the beginning. So in some of our companies, we take this slide, which is here slide 12, and we'll move it right up to in between the overview and the market sizing. And so what happens is, very early on, the investors see, oh wow, you have nice customers, you've got, you know, a lot of people that are currently evaluating. And if this is B2C, this can be your dashboard, all of your metrics. So it looks different.
What's your MAU, what's your DAU, all the engagement session lengths, you know, all of the metrics that we've been drilling into you for B2C, that can be your trophy slide, and the trending, how fast you're growing.
I can give you just a quick look at another company that we are working with right now, and what their trophy slide looks like.
Recent?
I just opened it a little earlier.
This is fine. Open it. Why it's not
Okay,
ready.
let
That's okay.
me just. Okay, so here's one. This is user growth forecast. So this is showing their user growth, for example.
And this is a pretty hot startup. If you look at their growth, they just launched. So in May they had 120 registered users. Now in August they're sitting at 40,000.
Yeah. And you
Just for the month of August, so it's a cumulative.
This is cumulative.
Yeah.
So this is not total.
It's not total. This is not
This
cumulative.
is per month.
17,000 for July, 40,000 for August, and here they started. They launched in May, and they had 120 users.
Yeah. So we can see here this is nearly 100% month-on-month growth, right? It slows down a little bit here, but it's because the numbers are getting bigger. But they're looking at, by the end of the year, having 650,000 users. These are their average session times, bounce rates, engagement metrics, projected number of registered users in aggregate. So anyway, that gives you an understanding of what it would look like in a B2C case. And that company is doing very well, so we pushed all of that up front. And the investors are actually very excited with that. So, but in the B2B case, it's really individual company names, and you want, you know, the customers to be brands that you can get them.
The other point that I wanted to make is, you know, one of the things that was recently asked to me is, well, what if you don't have customers yet? What if you don't have any revenue yet? How do you show that you have traction? Well, these can be like pilots. These can be, you know, people you're talking to that are channel partners, for example. I was telling Juan Fernando, for example, any of the conversations that he has with the Association of Cafeteros, if they are large associations and they have access to a lot of cafeteros in that association, and they're already in talks with them and they're adopting Ecotecma technology to distribute amongst those cafeteros, that is evidence of traction. because they may not necessarily be a paying client yet. However, they are a great channel play. And so by putting up that channel partner logo and saying we are already in talks with this association of cafeteros, and guess what? Our end customer is the cafeteros, and we have access to multiple groups of these cafeteros. That definitely shows traction.
And then you can have testimonials, right? So this is not just that they're customers, but they're referenceable. So the more, the better, though not too many, obviously. Business model, so how you make money, obviously very important. So not only what are you charging in general, but what are you targeting for your monthly account value, what's called an MRR. Your MRR is your monthly recurring revenue, very critical number for SaaS companies. So MRRs are what people look at. ARPU is what's typically looked at for B2C companies, but MRR is what is used with SaaS B2B companies, so monthly recurring revenue. Your go-to-market strategy needs to make sense, could be more detailed than this, but this is what you should have at a minimum.
This is a very, very high-level minimum.
Very high level.
Most people have a little bit more detailed, and they can go out to 3 years many times.
Yeah, and I can give you an example of another one that we've just recently been working with in terms of going out to investors in Silicon Valley. And you can see these get iterated a lot.
Yeah, there's many versions that come up.
So this one, for example, can have like a customer acquisition strategy, you can have a go-to-market strategy timeline. So it can look different from what we have. But this gives you a picture of, what's the process that they're going to go through. And this is more, B2C. They have both B2C and B2B. These are the projected patient and surgeon growth in this particular case in terms of this customer. So, so this gives you kind of an overview of, this is kind of a basic, but it can be a lot more detailed. The team, usually you want pictures, but you want to show how impressive the team is. Again, in this case, you've got the same type of structure showing, why these are the key people that should be, that people should be excited about. Your advisory board, same thing. Why are these people so great? Again, if the team is very strong, you can move the team up front behind the trophy slide, and all of this information would be available up here. So you go slide overview.
In many early stage companies, we do recommend that the team and advisory board be moved right up at the front, because it is very much a team play.
Yeah.
And if you're a very early stage startup and you don't have a lot of traction to show, you don't have much revenue or no revenue at all, it really is about the team. Remember, we talked about the importance of the team for executing.
Yeah.
So if you are having experience that is going to be adding to the credibility of what you're doing, the team goes up front.
Yeah, so then your team and your advisory board will go up front, so people see that quickly, that you have a great team. Then your financials, and these are going to be very similar to the financials that we have worked with you on.
We've had you do these for homework,
Yeah.
so you should be very familiar with those financial statements.
And then the raise, and this one's very important, and also including your targeted milestones. So what are you going to achieve with the money that you're raising? Where is it going to go? What's going to be achieved? Here you can see MRR is indicated in terms of the monthly recurring revenue, the number of customers, the fact that they are a market leader. So these are for example, a milestone in this particular case?
The high-level operational plan with what you're trying to raise it really is a big selling point with investors, because we can't tell you how many times investors, they go, wow, finally we're meeting an entrepreneur that actually thinks about this, because it is a business, it's a real business. You're not just having some little thing that you're selling for nothing, you're really trying to create a great company out of this. So they want to see, again, that plan for execution. What are the operational milestones you hope to achieve with the money that you're raising with your investors?
Yeah. And so on this slide, then they know why you're raising the money, what it's going to be used for, what it's going to achieve. So why do they care about milestones? So when an investor invests, they typically invest at a particular point which is similar, and then there's a gap. So you'll find people that invest at the early stage when a company has product, not a lot of customer traction, and then there's a gap. If you have one customer or two customers, you're kind of in between. You're too late for the early people, because they actually invest before customers. But you don't have enough customers for the people that, are later. And so you can't raise investment. You can't raise from the earlier people, you can't raise from the later. If you run out of money, you go out of business, right? So now they're worried, if you don't take enough money and you go out of business, they lose all their money, right? That's obviously not a good investment. So they want to make sure that when they invest, you are targeting enough money to get to the next milestone where the next group of investors invest. And you cross over that gap between investors. And so that's the key. So between seed and Series A, and between Series A and Series B, there are milestone gaps. And so they want to make sure that you get to the next milestone. So for example, here, with a 250K MRR, usually they're looking at around a couple million in revenue per year for a Series B raise, which would come after this. And they're going to be needing 20 or more customers. So here you're clearly into the milestones for the Series B. And so they're going to be, okay, this is enough money to carry you to Series B. And they can discount your numbers. Your numbers are actually saying you're going to be around 6 million a year run rate. So say you do 50%, you still get to 3 million. 3 million is still fundable at a Series B level. So, so these types of, and then they can quickly see, if you have 25 customers, each one giving you 10K per month, that's going to give you your 250K MRR. So your numbers make sense, right? Because 10K per month is sort of a standard MRR for an earlier stage company like for enterprise. So that basically takes you through the presentation, and then there's a courtesy slide at the end, which allows you to have your contact info. So and thank them for their time. So that's the full presentation. As you can see, it's around 20 slides. You'd probably be using around 15 to 18 with most investors. You're not going to use all. And also the order of the slides can be reordered depending upon your traction, how early you are, and whether or not you have a strong team and advisory board. So again, the thing is to optimize that team and advisory board and be able to move it up front. And again, get the traction to the point where you can move that up front as well. So, any questions?
No.
Okay, good. So, we just wanted to go over that so everybody's on the same page. And what we'd like to do now is just start taking a look at your decks and then giving you direct feedback on each of your decks and then homework.
I wonder if we might take maybe 5 minutes so that we can pull up all of the information.
Why don't you take a few minutes to pull up your information, and then we'll spend around 5 to 8 minutes with each company reviewing what you have, and then providing feedback. Sound good?
So we will be back in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So say at, well, we can make it maybe 8. Let's do it at 3:15.
Yeah. Okay. So 3:15.
It's now 3:08 your time, so 3:15. We'll be back at 3:15.
Okay.
Ellos pidieron vuelta.
¿Qué tal? La verdad,
¿Por qué? La presentación de una red que es el pitch, o sea, que no sale rápido que hay
El que se hizo con los entrevistas.
o sea, es lo que me dice es eso, yo creo que ellos, pero eso es una cosa fácil, porque lo que no es que muchas veces nos mostramos y que ellos nos hacen feedback, pues claro, todos es que hacer minutos todo me parece
Qué mala.
es posible.
Yo creo que es una broma.
No, sí, dijo que sí.
Y además que por orden alfabético. Búscalo.
No, así no me parece. Va a haber un porcentaje negativo. Cuando me prepare. Cuando me prepare.
One thing is you need to rinse the glasses out before you, because there's no cabinet. Hola.
Hola.
Victor? Okay, so who would like to meet first?
I have a question.
Roberto? Yeah.
So the main idea is to reevaluate the pitch.
Yeah.
Take a look at the form that you present us.
Yeah, we'd like to take a look at your pitch deck, evaluate it, and then give you some things to work on for next week.
Okay, so may I start, get the feedback and...
Sure.
Okay.
Do you want to share your deck?
Yes, but okay. Let me see. Let me see when you are seeing my screen.
Got it.
You see it good or not?
Yes, we can see it.
That's better. It's okay. Do you want to present that in that way or full screen?
Either way is fine. This is fine.
We can see it overall.
What we'd like to do is quickly go through the slides, so not take too long. So if we can take a look at the first slide.
Okay, that's the first one. Okay, so the main idea is that the message is that we want to communicate that we provide high-end solution services that helps companies to get productive and generate awareness in less time.
Okay, the messaging, it's somewhat clear, but it's a little bit weak, meaning that I don't exactly understand what that means. So, as a business, I care about money, number one, right? So, are you telling me that I'm going to get more money? Are you going to tell me that I'm going to spend less money? Are you telling me things are going to happen faster? When you say less time, is it like significantly less? Is it like 5 minutes less? Is it 20% less, 50% less? So it doesn't sound very strong.
Okay, so some numbers could be more benefit for the,
yes.
More benefit,
So,
more impactful.
yeah. What is the business benefit, and if you have quantification of that business benefit,
Yes.
that's good to put up front.
Yeah, because right now what I'm seeing, it doesn't really tell me very much. Like, okay, I'm going to be a little bit more productive and I'm going to get some more awareness, but it doesn't really sound very exciting. You want to generate, I'm going to save you 50% of the amount of money, I'm going to help you make, $100,000 more, you're going to be up and running in 24 hours.
Right.
And generate awareness less than a week. So,
And what impact does the awareness have, right? So just generating awareness,
yeah,
okay, is there something actionable that comes out of that awareness?
yeah. Well, this has to lead to sales. So rather than talking about awareness, maybe you indicate that you help companies generate money.
Okay, so that, okay, I understand.
Yeah. So it just needs to have impact.
Good.
Okay. So next slide.
Okay, so this is talking like in the other slide, for the guide is like team space and funding. Team, we are just put a little phrase about that we was former employees plus 15 years of experience in enterprise productivity solutions, the stage.
One thing about the team, because keep in mind the team needs to be strong, right? So the important thing here is just saying you're an employee. I mean, you could have been like a janitor. You could have, worked as a receptionist. So just saying you're a Microsoft employee doesn't really say very much. So if you say you were executives, you were top producers, something again impactful. Why should they?
Former Microsoft management
with strong track record, generating millions of dollars in sales. Something again strong. We want to strength.
The thing to say that we have experience in enterprise productivity solutions.
That part is
That's
good.
good.
That's good. But the beginning part is too weak,
Okay.
right? So again, Microsoft management. Generated a lot of sales, millions of sales, led product lines, something that looks significant, right? Because again, having 15 years in enterprise productivity is like you could have been
so what, right?
Somebody fixing bugs,
To be an intern, this is not me.
Sorry.
The example is that, for example, we can be interns or something
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. You could have been intern.
It's weak. Yeah, I understand. It's to mention more about the significant one that we got there.
What did you accomplish? It's all about achievement and accomplishment.
Okay, this is about, let me just put in some notes there.
Yes.
So about the stage. So the stage, we have like some notes about this.
Well, this one, you have you have strong partners like Dell and Microsoft and others, so, those are great. So, you could say platinum partner, preferred partner, or, with these companies, you can name some, you could say you have strong brands as customers, and you could say you have a full pipeline or something. I mean, this is again, you can be a lot stronger than this.
Okay.
So mention the names of the partners and to their good brands. Investors love to see brands. And the reason is because brands have choices.
Right.
They can work with, they won't.
But if strong brands are working with you, then that's a good testimonial. That's a good evidence point.
Yeah, but for our case, for example, we have some strong clients, for example.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily the product that we are presenting. This doesn't matter for the investor because there could be some relationship stage or something like that. It could be potential clients for the product that we are trying to sell. Right?
Yeah. But you can also indicate that you have partners.
Yeah.
And those partners in pipeline.
Okay, and the funding is the current funding, right?
No, it's not just current. You can say self-funded, but then how much have you self-funded? And then also, what are you trying to raise? If you're raising money, then that comes under funding as well.
So is it to put, for example, like some expectation of fund?
Of course.
Right, so if you're raising a million.
So what you want to say is, self-funded, in parentheses, maybe 200,000, and then,
currently raising 1 million. And if people that you're talking to have already soft committed, you can say, 150K committed. So you can indicate who's committed what, not who, but how much has been committed.
Okay.
And then with the funding, just keep in mind that when you go at the very end to the use of funds, you'll tie it together of how those funds are going to be used.
I'll have to step away in about 5 minutes actually to take an investor call with one of our companies. So
I'll be doing the rest of it. So.
But let's just keep going.
May I?
Yes, keep going.
Yes, keep going.
So we include a couple of slides more than, this is like out of the form.
As long as they're good.
Okay.
For some reason there's an image of a person, like a participant on the call or whatever, but it's like this big thing and we can't see your screen very well.
Can you stop sharing for a moment and then reshare?
Okay.
Okay, let's try again.
That's better?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So here is like a little summary of situation in Colombia. So, and this is a question that I have because based on this, we could put some numbers of the market size. So an investor in Silicon Valley is more interested to know, for example, in a situation in the US or a situation in a global proportion.
Yeah.
Which should be the way?
Well,
market size in the US?
What we can do is keep in mind that you'll have probably 2 demos. Your first demo day is in Popayán, right, in October. And so you want to have a deck that is going to address the Colombian investor. You also are going to have the U.S. investor. They're going to care more about the U.S. But it doesn't hurt to educate them about Colombia if you have significant customers here.
One minor point, that instead of saying situation in Colombia, just say Colombian market.
Yeah.
Okay. I could make the change right now.
I'm going to have to step away, but yes, Erica will take it from here. It's good speaking with you, Roberto, and everyone, and I will be back soon.
Good. Okay.
Keep going.
So here I mentioned about the situation of the. I mean, to try to measure a little bit the amount of opportunity. Creative companies, business sector. I mean, this is related that the 70% of these new companies that are created just in 2014 has no IT expertise, and plus 60% of them are closed in the first and second year. This is like the situation.
Yeah, we want to say that 250K, not creative companies, because it's a little misleading when you say creative companies. The first time I saw that, I'm like, are you creating companies? Or so maybe saying the 250,000 new companies in 2014, right? Or startups in 2014.
The speech is like, okay, according to Confe Cámara, which is an institution that is, has like an association of all the Chamber of Commerce in Colombia, and the Ministry of IT in 2014 was reported the creation of 250 key new companies.
Yeah, so say 250,000 small businesses created in 2014, or 250,000 new small businesses in 2014. I think that would be a good way of expressing it. Then you say 70% business sector. What does that mean?
About that this 70% has not IT expertise.
Then that's not clear, because what I see is business sector, and then I have to read the small print. So you say 70% of businesses have no IT expertise, right? So you want to express it in a way that you can see, and then, like I said, the 250K are new small businesses in 2014. And then the closed company rate, are you meaning that 60% of businesses shut down?
Yeah.
So saying 60% of businesses fail.
Okay.
Right?
In the slide, or I'm just saying that?
No, on the slide. I think changing the title to be more specific. You know, failed businesses, 60%, over 60, or you say 60+%, right? There's only one, yeah, there you go, failed businesses. And in the blue box, I would say instead of business sector, which to me doesn't say anything, I'll say 70% of businesses, no IT expertise. Right? I don't put that in the small print, I put it in big print, because that's explaining how the market is, right? So anyway, you can make these changes later. We don't have as much time, Roberto. We have to go through 6 companies, so I want to make sure we have enough time. But let's go through these a little bit quicker. If you could maybe take some notes by yourself on piece of paper, then you can go back and make changes, right?
Okay, right. So the main idea is to mention the solution, help startups and small companies to become successful through the use of the right technology platform that enables them to do more with less. Okay,
so here you talk about the solution. You haven't really explained to me what the pain is, right? I have some general idea of pain because
this is the pain.
You sort of put, yeah, so always the pain has to come before the solution, right? You're explaining what the pain is, and then you're providing a solution that fixes the pain.
Yeah, it's before. I mean, I just jumped the
I see. Okay. So here,
first thing,
so just having pictures alone doesn't give me a good idea of what the challenge is.
okay, so I will
So
check.
you know, it's okay to have pictures. I think that's good. I would have a sentence that describes what the pain point is and what the net result of that pain point is. So if companies can't sell, or if they don't have reach, or if they don't have information, the net result is that they lose revenue.
Yeah,
And as you know, 60% of small businesses fail.
yeah,
They can't sell.
I will modify that.
So explain that pain value proposition with the market and what's happening, right?
Okay.
Then you present your solution.
Yeah, so the solution has this like sentence or something. Yeah.
And again, back to the whole quantification, right? Generating awareness. What does that mean?
Yeah. Okay.
Doing more with less. What does that mean? Increasing sales. By how much? Right? So really explaining the net impact that addresses that pain point. Okay?
Okay. So then I describe a little bit more the things of the service.
Okay?
And then I'm going to the market side. So here maybe we can make another way to express that. Or
Yes.
this, because this is like an animation, so
yeah, I would say, you know, this is the part where usually we would talk about having that architecture diagram or whatever. So maybe there's no real architecture diagram because you're providing services, but maybe you can explain visually how these various services that you're providing, these world-class capabilities, how does the customer see it, and what is really the deliverable, right?
right.
Okay.
So next is like the potential market size, but this is based on Colombia.
So this would, you know, this is actually, I would put it up because the current market situation that you were saying in the Colombian market, this really needs to be dovetailed with that, saying the market size is this, and what is that composed of? Then you can talk about the fact that there are 250,000 businesses, 60% of them fail. That's more of a problem statement, but I would move the market up front.
Okay. Let's continue. So this is the competitive landscape.
Okay, so usually in the competitive landscape, what we like to do, remember when we were showing you the investor sample deck, is you will list yourself as Simplifica in one of the columns, or not the columns, we usually do it by rows. So on the left-hand side, you will have the companies, you know, Simplifica, Claro, Microsoft, and then you'll have different categories. What do they have? What do you have? And why are you better? So you'll have different columns that says content update, social media enablement, etc.
Yeah, understood. This is the way to say that we
Or
are
like segmentation, so there's various attributes that you're comparing yourself against your competitors.
Okay. Business model is that one, is the pricing strategy plus target sales and people target.
Okay. Again, here you might want to put in your business model, what does this translate to in terms of monthly recurring revenue?
I need to put this like in a landscape to 5 years to know what is the...
Well, that would be in your financial projections, right? But for your business model, you know...
This is the financial part.
Yeah. So that's fine, but I mean, in the business model, what does this translate to in terms of monthly recurring revenue? So if you look at the investor sample deck that we have, you'll see an MRR coming up. So it's a good idea to say, okay, with all of these subscription packages that you have, on these monthly SaaS subscription packages, how that translates to your monthly recurring revenue. And then you have your financial projections. Now in your financial projections, you're only basically going up to gross margin. We usually like to see a little bit more than that. So you usually try to see what the sales and general administration costs are going to be. What are you spending on salaries for administration, for sales, for marketing, etc. What are your expenses? Because this is right up to gross margin. We'd like to see all the way down to the net.
But in the same way, I mean,
in the same way, 5-year projection is fine, right? So you want to see down to the net.
Good.
So standard P&L, right?
Okay.
High level P&L. And then,
so before that was the strategy of expansion and so on, and the other ones is like a more detailed stuff about the team.
The strategy of expansion is really more so your go-to-market strategy. And here, it's not just a geographic go-to-market. I'd like to see year 1, year 2, what your go-to-market is.
Okay.
Right? So look at again the sample investor deck that I put onto the platform, to the canvas. And you can indicate go-to-market based on year to year. At least a 2-year plan. Many people even do up to 3.
Okay.
And then your team slide, you want to have pictures of each of you with the bullets as you have indicated.
Okay.
And who are you? Who's Roberto? Who's Anwar? Is Anwar the CEO? Who are you? Are you Vice President of Business Development? What's your title? And then your background. And pictures, please.
Okay.
Okay, and then in the team, I would even say the team's really important up at the top because you're a service company, essentially. You're providing technical services to small to medium-sized businesses, correct?
Great.
So you are the team. You're the people delivering on this. So, you know, when you talk about the team at the in the first overview slide, I would even move this right up to the top saying, look, we're a world-class team. We've got all this great experience.
Okay. Maybe we can put the other guys, right? I mean, or a little...
You can put maybe your lead, your technical team lead.
Okay.
Right? You can put that person because obviously they have technical skills that are important.
Yeah,
and if you have any key advisory board member, that's also very important. Who are your advisors? And all of that can go up to the front because it really does give you weight in terms of the team capability. Okay?
Okay.
All right? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I have to leave.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend.
Good luck to the other guys. Bye.
Okay. Thanks, Rebecca. Okay, great. Who's next? I don't see you, by the way. That I'm not seeing video for some reason.
What happened with this? Hello.
Hi.
Who's the
Ricardo.
next?
Okay. Well,
I'm not seeing any video, by the way. So,
Video?
but it's okay if you want to share your slides. Yes, that's good.
okay. Well, I mean,
And now?
Yes, now I see.
Okay.
Radhika?
See.
Please wait a minute.
Yes, of course.
While I put my presentation in our computer. But right now we don't have the presentation, the final presentation according your tips and according we want to show you the the last version for the demo day here in Colombia in Spanish. We right now identify very that we need very changes.
Okay,
But it's very important. It's very important.
Created for Colombia.
It's very important for us your feedback.
Sure. Well, we can start with the one that you have because, first of all, your demo day, the first one that's coming up, is going to be in Colombia, right? So let's work with that. I'm not familiar with necessarily the order that is standard for Colombian decks, but at least I can give you feedback, and what you will end up having is two versions, Ricardo.
Yeah.
One version for Colombia and one version for Suriname.
Yes, sure.
Yes.
This
is the Colombian version.
Okay,
This
so
is
let's start with
this is
that.
our Colombian version.
That's fine, let's start with that.
Okay. Wait a minute. Necesitamos compartir la pantalla. Un momentico, no, yo la comparto aquí. Bueno, es aquí en Skype. No sé si la tenía acá. Es que aquí siempre aparece una forma de compartirla más rápido. Y la empiezo. Can you see our screen?
I do.
Okay. Well, our presentation. Wait a minute. There. Presentación de página. ¿Es esta? ¿Cómo hago para mostrarla como presentación? ¿Ah? No, pero es que hay una forma chévere de presentarla que me gusta. Con F4 es. Creo que es. No. No, es con control. No, eso no es. Sorry, wait a minute, please. Ready.
Okay, we're ready. Listo.
Okay. Our presentation is is our lemma. No matter where you are, Somos is with you.
It's okay, I can understand.
Okay. Okay. Then is our description, our business description.
Okay.
We present retos. Okay, one question. This presentation is centered and focused on CTT, but for example, our goal in order to construct our presentation for United States or for the demo day for this process is centered in MBT.
Yes.
It's another presentation. Okay.
I understand. No
Yes.
problem. I
Yes.
understand that it's going to be two different presentations. I
It's
understand.
very different because here it's very important to show another product, but our focus in our process with paradigms is MBT.
Okay.
There are facts related with the transport in airports mainly.
So this is your pain slide. These are the pain points.
Yeah. Is the pain point. Okay.
Long queues,
Long queues.
lot of delays, lot of time, congestion at the gates, right?
Yeah. Cost.
Low quality service, client dissatisfaction, and high operational costs.
Okay. And for these paints, we conceive. I don't know.
And then, no, just a quick question on these pain points. What do you think the net result is for all of this pain? There's a lot of pain here, so that's very clear. What is the net business impact of all this pain?
Yes.
Ricardo?
Wait a minute, please. I have problems because the presentation no advance.
Oh, okay.
I have problems with this presentation because the copy is not good.
The file?
The file is corrupt. ¿Alguien quiere pasar la presentación? Sorry, wait a minute. En línea. Wait a minute, Radhika. I intend to download our online document because in my this is corrupted.
Yeah, no problem.
Ah, no, pero esa es es que la otra está, la que podamos mostrar aquí. ¿Puede ser el control L?
Sí.
Antes háganlo ahí. No, porque como está en el drive, hay que mostrarlo de otra manera. Está jugando a 2 o 3 que yo voy seguro. Y Oscar ojalá dependiendo de que... Bueno, entonces Oscar y yo. Ya que los dos. Sí. Ya que los dos. Ahí, no entramos en el caso. Well, Radhika?
Yes.
We will continue. Then
So my question to you, Ricardo,
yes.
for your pain points, what are the net results or the net impact of these pain points for your clients?
Okay.
Right? So remember when we had our pain slide up?
Quantities, time,
Yes.
time, money.
What is the net impact, business impact of this pain?
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
I think these are very good points, very good pain points you have. I would put some net business impact from this pain point for your customers.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. For example, we found that the hospital in Popayan was demanded and lost 40 million pesos
Exactly.
because...
So in that case, with the hospital client, you had lots of money that was lost.
Yeah.
Same thing will happen with airports. There will be loss of revenue.
Okay.
Right? I mean,
Right.
you know that in international travel, if you find that there is a airport that is very poorly designed, very inefficient, a very big headache to go through that airport, you're going to avoid.
Okay.
You're going to try to pick a flight that doesn't go through that airport, right?
Right.
and you say, I don't want to travel through John F. Kennedy Airport in New York because it's a big headache. It's going to be a lot of loss of time and effort for me. It's a lot of headache. I don't want to deal with it as a customer, as a passenger. So what happens is that you have less people that want to schedule their flights going through that airport. So there's loss of revenue for the airport.
More similar that, for example, I have no. Wait a minute, one moment, please. For example, it's not of this presentation, but I put these slides for backup with numbers.
This
for
is
example,
the market slide.
The
market slide, explains the market that you're in, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Where does this come from? Where would you put that slide in the middle of your presentation? Would it be before your pain point? We usually put the market information before the pain point. I don't know how the decks in Colombia are structured, but that would be my recommendation. Is right at the very opening, you talk about the market you're in, right, and how fast it's growing. And that market can be put right before the pain point.
Before this.
Yeah, because it's a huge market. We're going after the airport, the global airport market.
Okay.
Huge market to be in.
Okay, very good.
So I would move that market slide there before the pain point.
Okay. Next, we put our architecture.
Okay, so before you put the architecture, when you have the pain point, how are you solving the pain?
Okay.
What is your solution, right? Usually you have a pain point, and the minute that you have the pain point, your natural mind, the mind says, how are you solving the pain?
Okay. We explained that with this slide in our recently pitch. I use for both purposes.
You put the architecture slide as your solution?
Just because I can explain how construct our solution.
I would recommend having an additional slide, because to me the architecture is an explanation of how it works. But I want to know what the solution is before I understand how it works, right?
Thank you, I understand.
So, if you're solving, you have a lot of pain points that you showed me, right? Long lines, congestion, all these problems that customers are facing with the airports, and the airports are having a huge problem. What does your solution offer as a pain solution? I mean, each of those pain points has to be correlated with a solution. So I would recommend having an additional slide that explains how you're solving that pain point, and then bring up the architecture, because then you can show how the solution works.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. Next, we put another slide in order to explain scalability. And the tools that we use in different layers of our solution.
Right. And you might want to additionally educate, because some of these investors might not know what each of these layers. I know what these layers are, right? But your presentation layer, an analytics layer, a database layer, an access layer, and then your actual back end, right?
Right.
So you might want to separate it out and say, UI, business logic layer, etc. You want to separate it out and group them so that they understand what they're looking at.
Okay. And the next was related to the business model.
Okay. Here again with the business models, I think it's great that you have listed that there are different types of business models depending on the type of client, but I don't see pricing here.
Okay.
So I don't know what I'm looking at, because if I say licenses and perpetuity, Okay. How does that work? What is it going for? How are you pricing that? And what your monthly recurring revenue is from that kind of revenue stream. So from your business model slide, I want to understand what your revenue streams are and how much you're going to be getting from each of those revenue streams.
Okay.
Okay.
And this is one slide
So this is
that
another market
shows
slide. So the
the
market slide really should be at the beginning.
okay. Okay, is the size of the market at the beginning.
Exactly.
At the beginning.
Yeah, at the beginning, exactly.
Okay. This is the slide related with our company.
This is very good.
Okay.
This is very good. Very strong.
I think that is very important. Identify more competitive advantage.
Absolutely. So I would do, really look at. But this is a very good list. Usually we have 4 to 5 competitors that we list, and just like you have in a matrix, this is very nice.
Okay, thank you. Our team.
Okay.
Our advisors. Our customers.
So here, again, my suggestion to you is, depending on how they do things in Colombia, I would even put your, this is the trophy slide, right? Who are your clients? En atención is what?
Is right now customers.
Okay, so you can just say customers. You don't really say en atención, not necessary. Maybe in Colombia there's a difference between clientes and en atención.
Yeah.
But to me, clientes means that they are your customers already, right? And then you have prospects.
Prospects, yeah.
Yeah, so I would even, this is something that's really, this is a big slide for you guys, right? So I would even put it up at the top saying, guess who our customers are? We've got the biggest customers, right?
Right.
Right. So I think they can come like right after, you can move all of those things, because you're still an early stage company. They might want to know who you are as a team, and by the way, they're your customers. So if you have actual customers and you're having revenue, why not put all the way up to the top? Because you can say, we're already proving our product in the marketplace.
Okay.
Very nice. Also, if you're in discussion, like sometimes, if you're not just a prospect, but that you're waiting, like you have a letter of intent or something that says, yes, we are going to buy your solution, but we have to wait a couple of months, but here's a letter of intent. That can also be indicated on this slide, where you might have not just a prospect that you're talking to, but actually companies that have issued a letter of intent.
Wait a minute, please. Radhika, I have a question. If in this process we can identify probably American prospects.
Absolutely. So if you can indicate, now if you have prospects that can be segregated that way, you can make this a bigger pipeline and say Colombian pipeline, U.S. pipeline, or global pipeline, so you can separate the two and qualify it, and that can be very exciting for somebody to see, saying already you're going global.
Okay. Thank you. Very good. Well, our, for example, is our projection, our revenue projection, and is good, but for example, our numbers related with the global markets is more attractive.
Okay.
For example,
so this is Colombian market?
Yes, is more pessimistic scenario of our numbers, but is centered in Colombian markets. But for example, when
proyección de ventas en Colombia.
Yeah.
And and explain these are conservative numbers. You won't say pessimistic. You say conservative.
Okay,
In
conservative.
English, we say conservative.
Conservative.
Because if you're conservative, you're not negative. Pessimistic means that you're negative about it. But if it's not
Okay.
negative, you're being conservative.
Conservative. Okay.
Conservative.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And we have numbers, for example, that reach in 2020 $80 million, for example.
Right. You have other projections that are a lot more aggressive. This is
more
a
aggressive.
conservative forecast.
Yeah. Well, right now we have a problem because I calculate the number of the market in millions of dollars at the how do you say it, at the change rate between dollars and pesos. And right now
it makes it a much smaller number.
Yeah, right now our money is in a process of devaluating.
Yes.
And for example, our sales in 2020 was $120 million, and at the rate today is only $80 million.
Yes, exactly. Oh yeah, I understand because it's been devalued so much.
So much.
Do you have the same financial projections as a P&L statement?
Please repeat me.
So do you have your financial projections, your proyección de ventas?
Oh yeah.
Do you have not just proyección de ventas, but do you have your profit and loss statement?
Okay. Profit is not.
Profit and loss?
Profit
Remember
and loss.
when we talked about
Yeah.
P&L financial projections
Yeah.
with the cost of goods sold, the gross margin?
Uh-huh.
I don't know in Colombian presentations that you usually include that. It's something that we look for in our deck is a profit and loss statement. And a 5-year forecast or a 3-year forecast at least. Remember we had you do that for a homework?
Yeah. Yeah, but in this presentation we then put...
You did not put it?
Yes.
Okay.
We put the final slide in order to put our initial inversion requirement.
So here again, the feedback that I have is, how are you going to use these funds? What percentage will go into product? What percentage is going to go into marketing? What percentage is going to go into operations?
We identified that for example.
To say that with this money, what are the milestones you hope to achieve?
Yes, the pie in your presentation is a very good example.
Very good example. Where the money is going to be distributed or allocated.
Yes.
And then also the milestone. What do you hope to achieve? How many more customers do you hope to get? What is your monthly recurring revenue going to be? How are you going to become that market leader?
Really, the investors of the Colombian investors asked a question about that to us.
Yes. So this slide for me it's fine. It tells me the amount that you're looking, but it doesn't tell me how you're going to use the money.
Okay. Very good.
And what you're going to achieve with this money. Because money is always tied to milestones, right? What you're going to achieve with the money.
There are two aspects very important.
Yes.
Milestones.
It's going to be a very important
milestones and the pie in order to define the quantity of money that I use for each mainly aspect.
Yes.
Okay. And is the final.
Okay. So overall, good presentation, but there's a lot more detail that you need in your presentation.
Yeah. Yes.
To make it much more quantifiable, much more number specific.
Very good.
Okay.
It's very clear for us, but we construct this presentation
you have to work on it.
for another goals.
Yes.
For you, we are working in order to obtain a better presentation in order to Silicon Valley investors.
Exactly. You'll have to have it in a format that we have provided, so you can work on that. You can start working on that for next week.
Okay.
Thank you, Ricardo and Javier.
Thank
we need to
you,
move through
Radhika.
this quickly because we're going to be running out of time. We're already past the time, and we still have to talk to, 4 more companies. So we have to move through these much faster. This is really good stuff, but we have to move through it quicker.
Okay. Juan Bernardo, come here.
Okay, hi Juan Bernardo.
Juan Fernando.
Juan Fernando. I thought you said Juan Bernardo.
No, oh, sorry.
Juan Fernando. Hi Juan Fernando, how are you?
Hi, Laika. ¿Cuál momento?
So sorry to rush you. We're going to have to rush through this because we're going to run out of time.
Yes.
And if there's anybody that we haven't gotten to, maybe we can do it next week. We can provide feedback.
This was the presentation for the demo day, right? I told you yesterday about that?
Yes.
Yes. It's in Spanish.
Of course. Okay, very good. Excellent. Very nice quantified problem slide. So on this solution slide, Juan Fernando?
Yes, and that is one of the points in the presentation in Colombia. One slide for solution, and see, that is different.
Yeah, the other thing that you might want to think about adding to your solution slide is how each of these solutions solves that pain point, because you've got problems when you go back to the previous slide. You've got 50% yield loss, right? Disminución de cosecha.
Yes.
Right. 70% production at global, right? What does that mean? Is that a problem?
Yes.
70%?
Yes. Temperature.
Ah,
yes.
okay.
Yes.
And then 650 million US dollars, so not 650 USD, 650 big M USD. You need M for millions, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you forgot the N in the 650.
When?
650 N.
50 N. When?
Right, 650 M.
M.
M for million. USD.
Okay.
Correct. So then people understand that you're looking at 650 million US dollars.
Okay.
And so all of these losses, they're real pain points for the farmers, correct?
Correct.
Correct. So when you go through your solution slide, I would like to see how your solution ties into the pain problem.
Okay. I understand.
What does the fact that you have a mobile app, or that you have a web platform, or you have associations, or that you have analysis or prescriptive big data, how does this link to the pain points?
Okay.
So for me, it doesn't speak to each other. You have a problem slide, nice. You have a solution slide, but I don't see how they're talking to each other.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so this is the market side, right?
Yes. Right.
So usually what we try to do is put the market slide before the pain and solution.
Yes. I told you yesterday about that because this is the steps and that I don't.
They like you to talk about the market slide after the payment solution?
Yes.
I see. Okay, all right.
Yes, but the idea is change the I don't know la forma en que están las diapositivas according to the pitch.
That's fine. That's
Yes.
fine. There'll be two versions. There'll be your Popayan version and there'll be a
Yes.
US version. Okay, that's good to know.
Yes.
That's good to know that they like to talk about the market after the payment solution.
Yes.
Okay, very good. So this is business models.
Yes.
It tells me how it's being used, but it doesn't tell me what your revenue streams are.
Yes.
So usually for business models, at least here in Silicon Valley, when you're talking about business models, it's not just the how, it's the what.
Okay.
And so with each of the revenue streams, you're thinking about, there's a B2B side, there's a B2C side. What are you charging to the B2B side? What are you charging for the B2C side? How are you making money? Right?
Yes.
For me, the business model is how are you making money?
Yes.
And so if this is a SaaS business model, then I want to know that it's a SaaS business model. And if it's a SaaS business model, I want to see from the enterprise point of view how much is going to be at each tier and how that results in your monthly recurring revenue.
Okay.
So I want to see numbers here.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, this is your go-to-market.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Okay, this is your competitive analysis.
Yes.
Okay, so just a little suggestion.
Yes.
When I'm looking at this slide, the yellow is kind of a bit hard to see.
Okay.
The red is very visible. I see what people don't have.
Okay. Okay.
So maybe instead of the yellow star, maybe you make it a green check mark or something like this, so people say, "Oh wow, there's a lot of red here. Most people don't have your capabilities."
Yes, that is true.
So just a suggestion. So this is your team slide.
Yes.
Okay, I don't see you. I don't see Andres.
Yes.
I don't see a lot of people.
Yes, I don't have that slide with the team, but
Okay.
the idea is introduce that slide in the presentation.
Okay. I like to see your faces. I like to see what credentials you have, what experience you have.
Yes.
All with the bullet points.
Okay.
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 And you don't have to list all 17 PhD scientists. You can say we have a data science team, 17 data scientists, or whatever you want. 14 data scientists, I think you have.
Ah, okay. Okay.
And then your advisory board too.
Oh, okay.
So one slide for the team and one slide, and the team, when I'm talking about team, it's mostly the executive team.
One slide for the team and one slide for advisory board or together?
Yes.
Ah, okay. Okay.
No, one for the, usually, I don't know how many advisories board members you have.
Yes.
But typically you list the most important one.
Okay. Okay. I can introduce in the presentation the balance sheet. Should?
Yeah, not the balance sheet, but the income statement.
The income statement, yes.
Yes,
Sorry.
so 5-year projection of income statement to go with your, excuse me, this is your sales projection.
Yes.
Okay, this is your use of funds slide.
Yes.
So the only additional comment that I have, I like the way you put it in a pie chart, and you can clearly see the percentages of what's going to what. Also, I'd like to see what kind of milestones you hope to achieve with $150,000 US.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
So with $150,000, what are you going to do? What kind of milestones will you achieve? So this could be the number of users, the number of customers, how you're going to become a market leader, or what you're going to become capable of doing with this money.
Yes, not only the name, the strategies for reach that goal. For example, social campaign, the 5%.
That will be part of your. No, that's different. So when you talk about marketing strategies, that can come in your go-to-market.
Oh, okay.
So you remember your go-to-market slide?
Yes.
You can add those bullet points to the go-to-market, saying that you're going to be doing a social media campaign or that you're going to do some other thing to acquire customers. That can be a part of the customer acquisition strategy. But this is your use of funds. So in addition to where the money is going to be spent, usually we have 2 or 3 bullet points. You can see in our sample investor deck that we have, 25 new customers, 250,000 monthly recurring revenue, etc.
Okay, I understand.
Milestones.
Okay.
All right, and that's your final slide.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
Well done.
Thank you.
So just a little bit more detail on some of these.
Yes. I will change. I will do the change.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Who's next?
Me.
Yay.
Hi. ¿Este tiene HMS? O mejor. ¿Ah? ¿Le conecta? No, después.
No, me pasa luego. Porque es esto, ¿no? Es sensible ese computador.
Sí, después. Si desconecto los dos.
The only thing is, Haiti,
Yes?
we are running out of time. So,
Okay.
and I have a call coming up. So let me do this. Let me send a quick message
Okay.
because I'm going to have to.
Nice. I'm ready. Wait. Are you ready? Ah, sonido. Ya. O ya le quito. ¿Radica?
Ella sí te escucha.
I can. We can hear you. ¿Ingenieros? Ingeniero 1. Ingeniero 2. ¿Qué?
Pues se va a recalentar allí con esto.
Pero no.
Ah,
Sí, es del
sí, pues ya. Es que
Can you
ya.
hear us?
Ah, eso no.
Hello?
No, ella está en otra cosa. Yo creo que está hablando con alguien. Sí, porque ella me dijo que le disculpara que.
Ah, ok.
Pero ya estás.
¿Ya?
No,
¿Sí?
no, no.
Ya estás. Sí, porque
Ah,
te
entonces.
No, no,
Ah,
no.
que sí, ella sí me escucha. No, nosotros no.
Listo aquí, parece apagado. Ah, está bien.
Oh,
¿Sí
qué
desconectó
mal, qué
algo?
mal.
Este cablecito.
Como que no la puedes escuchar.
Claro, no la puedo escuchar.
O le desconectaron lo que está en la cámara. El solito el
No le quise
sonido.
tocar nada, precisamente. No, porque lo que hay es un cable y la cámara. No hay sonido, el sonido está por aquí. ¿Por dónde está el sonido, ¿Cómo va el sonido por allá? Ah,
Pero aquí
vuelven a llamar.
Hola.
Hola, ¿ya me escuchas?
Sí.
¿Y ahora cómo comparto?
Les escuchaba anteriormente, pero ustedes no me escuchaban.
Ah,
exacto.
lo sentimos.
Ok. Listo.
Espérame, vamos a compartir la pantalla. ¿Ya? ¿Ves?
Sí, por favor.
Listo.
Okay. This is the problem.
Okay.
It's about the product. If the product is have innovation, of the I have competence. If I know the tendons, but I don't have time, and the best information is in English.
Okay, so question for you.
Okay.
Number one, inteligentemente, I see that, wonderful. I don't see any opening slide. I don't even know what you are.
Okay. Yeah, it's because we have one slide to present our company, but the recommendation for the pitch last week was only 9 slides, and we have to remove that slide. And I started presenting the company and the experience these 3 years, and talk about our the importance of work with the technology enterprise and their needs of because they have to work in innovation market, and they have to change their business model and change their products many times in the year. And we discover the need of know more trends, more insights, because they trying to develop products and services that already exist, and they spend so much money and lost money on that because they don't know much about the market.
So that's a lot of information. I would recommend having one slide that just talks about, Inteligentemente, we have a big data predictive analytics platform that enables app developers to do X, Y, Z.
Okay.
Just very simple overview slide, because it's not a big slide, but it's a very important slide, because when you start diving into the problem, I don't really know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I have no context to say, okay, who are you? What are you? Are you software? Are you hardware? What are you?
Yeah, okay.
Right? So it's kind of hard for me to say, oh, okay, if you're a platform, if you're a platform for app developing companies, now I know, oh, you're B2B.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So you're a B2B company, you have a marketing intelligence platform, you provide big data predictive analytics that enable businesses to do X, Y, Z. Okay, I understand, kind of in general. Now you can get into the problem and the solution, right?
Okay.
Otherwise, I have no context. I was like, what are you?
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, my feedback, I don't know, in general, I would say...
I'm so agree with that.
Yeah, I think just one slide that captures it, both Somos and also Ecotecma had a kind of an overview slide.
Okay.
So I think an overview slide is acceptable.
Okay. Okay. This is the slide about the problem.
Okay. Here again with the problem, this is the same feedback I offered to some of the other companies, is make it more specific.
Okay.
Right?
Maybe
here it's like I'm wondering for things, but I don't understand what the net impact of the problem is. Is my product an innovative product? Okay, if I don't know the answer to that question, what net business impact is it going to have on me as an app developer?
What do you think about the numbers of how many entrepreneurs lost desert, or how many money people lost in develop new products that don't have success in the market, or something like that? Numbers?
Well, that's more of a kind of a market problem kind of a slide. I would say if you're talking about the problems that your customers have, there should be a net business impact, right? So
okay.
if I don't know that my product, if it's an innovative product or not, what net impact is that going to have on me? Well, people might say, you don't have an innovative product, so I don't see that you're very well differentiated in the market.
Okay.
So maybe it's lack of competitive differentiation that is a problem. Then, do I have any competition?
Yeah.
If I don't know what the competition is, how do I know that I have any competitive differentiation again? So it seems to me that the problem is I don't know if I'm differentiated from the market.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Lack of knowledge of tendencias, market trends. Okay, if I don't know what the market trends are, how do I know that I'm developing a product that is going to be successful for the market?
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know that, right?
Okay.
So in each of these problems, these are all very good problem statements, but I don't understand the net impact of these problems on me as an app developer.
Okay.
So more specificity, more specific in terms of the net business impact, I think makes it even more effective as a slide. I think it's a good slide because you're like, well, I'm thinking about all these things, but I don't know what the net impact is.
Okay, I'm agree with that. Thank you.
Okay.
And this, in this slide, I try to present the solution, like the platform, and try to explain the functionality or the impact in the enterprise to find in a quick way trends and information about the market permanently.
Okay.
And in this slide, I explain some functionalities and differentiation from any other thing, like the dashboard and the graphic, ¿cómo se dice? Interfaz.
The graphic, the GUI.
And the most important thing is the suggestions to the customers with a predictive analytic, because the platform going to advise or suggest information important for the customer.
Okay. So two comments on this before you go to the next. Let's stay on this for me, okay? So. Two things. Number one, you know how one of the feedback you got is you can only have a certain number of slides?
Okay.
I would try to minimize. You have one slide before that just says trends to go.
Okay.
It's just an intermediary slide. Take it out.
Okay. Perfect.
You don't need that.
Okay.
Right? Because you just go right here. The solution is trends to go. Here, the solution is good. Again, to make it more specific,
okay,
I would try to tie it into the problems you have. So if the problem is, I don't know what the market trends are, no sé cuáles son las tendencias del mercado, right? Okay. And the net impact is that I have no competitive differentiation. Trends to go is a solution that gives you competitive differentiation because now you do know about the market trends, you do know about your competition, and you're able to predict what those trends are. So you know exactly your market, the competitive differentiation, and also your market positioning.
Perfect. Okay.
Those are real business impact that come directly from your solution, which speak to the problems that your customers are having.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
Okay.
I understand.
And in terms of the solution, I don't know that the graphical interface is really a major solution unless you feel that there's a problem, because it wasn't in your problem statement. In your problem statement, you didn't talk about the fact that there was no good graphical interface.
Okay. Okay.
So to me, the problem and the solution are together.
Okay.
If I see a problem, I have to have the solution. You can't say, I have this problem, and then there's different kinds of solutions that have no correlation to the problem.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, right.
So whatever you choose as your problem, it has to connect with the solution.
Okay. Next?
Next.
Okay. Team.
Okay.
Here present part of the team and present some partners, international partners.
So really quick here,
Yeah.
I like the fact that you have nice pictures of everybody.
Thank
but
you.
I don't know who you are. Why? What is so special about you as gerente? What is your background? What is your education? What kind of experience do you have in this domain that makes you capable of leading this team?
Okay.
Who is your team? What kind of accomplishments has your team members have? So first of all, you won't list every single person. You probably will want to list yourself. You will want to list the CTO, and you will want to list the CMO, and maybe one other person. So really just, your basic executive team.
Okay.
And with the pictures, bullet points for your accomplishments. Same thing for your advisors.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, they're not just interested in who, they're interested in what you've accomplished.
Exactly.
Perfect. Okay. Business model.
Okay.
Here present all the steps to get the product to the customers and the two kind of service that we're gonna offer and the prices. It's a specialized service like observatory and micro trends is a small service with a low price. But here I present when we're provided the information, free information, paid information, and our content, and the process with big data and predictive analytics.
So one suggestion for you, maybe, sorry to move along quickly because we're running out of time, is with the business models, there's two things. I like the fact that you have listed, what's the free, what's the paid model, etc. But
Okay.
I'd like to understand how you're making money off of this, right? So this diagram to me,
Okay,
it's a little bit difficult to understand how you're making money.
Okay.
So usually if it's a SaaS business model, and if you're going with, say, maybe there's a freemium model here, right? So you're saying a certain percentage is free. Okay, so the free model has 1, 2, 3 kind of things that you can get for free. Then you have the first tier, and you're saying, okay, if you want certain types of information like social or artificial intelligence or predictive analytics, you're going to have to pay for that. How much are you going to pay for that, right? And so, same thing with here, you don't need the entregables so much.
Okay.
You really just have the different features that you're paying for. So this is what I'm liking to see is what kind of a business model do you have that's going to get you the money, right?
Okay.
And then with those aspects of the business model, I also want to understand how this translates into your monthly recurring revenue.
Okay, I understand.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Here I present something like individual.
And it's a bit difficult to see what part goes with what part.
Yeah.
So I think if what you're following is a freemium sort of enterprise SaaS model, then I want to see what that model looks like and what the revenue streams for each look like.
Here's some numbers of potential market. Latin America market and predictive analytic. Market like
So
like an
was this a
opportunity,
market- Is this the market size?
like an opportunity
Okay.
for
Did they give you feedback that the market size has to be at the end? Because you had another market size slide, did you not?
yeah.
Is this your expansion plan, or how does this tie into the other market slide?
No, like an opportunity for any kind of develop like trends to go.
Okay, so I still didn't understand that, but
It's because we have another presentation with the information that you asked me, more specific. But when Fabian saw that presentation, asked to some change, and we try to do or take their suggestions for next week. But we can we have so many information that you are saying to me now in the another presentation.
I see.
That's why it's so simple. I don't know. He talked about the size of the letter and so simple slides to for talk more with the investors and show specific
So here,
things.
with the competitive analysis, I'm not sure what feedback you got from Fabian about your Popayan presentation. But
Okay.
usually we like to see how you differentiate from your competition. So if you think that Tosfera is a competitor and Apani is a competitor, I want to see how you differentiate from your competition.
Okay.
So, I would list the attributes, and Somos and Ecotecma did this, where they listed the competitors, well actually not even, both Ecotecma and Somos had a competitive analysis matrix. I would take a look at that matrix. Also, it's in our sample investor deck, where on the left-hand side you will list all the companies and you will put yourself on that matrix. So, Inteligentemente, La Tosfera, Apani, Upside, and then I can't see the German one, but the other one as well.
We have that matrix. We have
And then you have, so I will put the matrix up.
Okay. Marketing strategy with the expectation campaign and the launch event, conference, demos, and social media strategy too.
So here, my comment is that it's way too generalized. I don't know what you're going to do in year one versus year two. So at least I would put 2 years of go-to-market.
Okay.
In the first year, we're going to do digital marketing, campaigns, and then and launch. Second year, we're going to do conferences, we're going to do publications, we're going to do press. So tell me from year to year what the progression of events is going to be.
Okay. The sales.
Okay.
Here it's important to say that in the third year we almost have the $1 million. It's that's.
So again, I'm not sure the feedback that they seem to be giving you feedback that for the Colombia presentations, for the Colombia version, they don't want to see what your cost of sales is and what your gross margins are, perhaps. Usually, we like to see a profit and loss statement, 5-year projection.
Okay.
Not just the sales, but we like to see, what your margins are, what your expenses are. Every single of the Popayan companies, all they've done is sales projections. They don't want to see anything else, they just see sales projections. So anyway, it's surprising because usually we understand with Colombia that they really look for profitability, and if you're only doing sales projections, then it's kind of hard to see when do you become profitable.
The good thing is that we have several versions of this presentation, and we can change something.
So again, to that point, for Popayan, I guess you don't need the P&L version, but definitely when you come to Silicon Valley, you will need the P&L version. So
Okay.
it will be the profit and loss statement, with the net income.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the end.
Okay, so overall, good presentation. Like I gave feedback to some of your peers, a lot more specific information
Okay.
and a lot more quantitative information. Also, you didn't have a slide about what kind of funds you're trying to raise.
Okay. Okay.
So I'd like to see a slide on the funds that you're trying to raise and the use of funds.
Okay.
So, 40% product, 50% marketing,
60%
whatever those
marketing,
breakdowns
yeah.
are. And then also what milestones you hope to achieve with that money.
Okay, we have that slide in another version. Okay. Thank you, Radhika.
I will bring it back to this.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Heidi.
Okay, thank you for your
Who's
advice.
next? We're going to blow through it really fast on the last two. Unfortunately, we're really, really out of time now.
Okay. Vamos a tener todas las versiones ahí.
Okay.
Hi, Andy.
Hi. I think I'm having problems with PowerPoint, and
Okay,
it's
let's do this. If it's possible to maybe, if you're having problems, maybe if David is available, we can do his presentation first. Or are you ready? It's just that we have now 15 minutes before our call, and we're already running hugely late, and it's just been taking too long.
okay.
So,
No, yeah.
okay, great. Now
I have it. Yeah.
Awesome.
So this is the problem slide,
Okay.
which is the last place of Colombia in PISA report.
So, just really quick, again, with the
Yeah.
feedback that you received, do they not like to have you guys do an overview slide? Because I know Ecotecma and Somos both had overview slides. So, before you dive into the problem, who are you? What do you do? Smart Soft.
Yeah.
That gives me an indication you're a software company.
It's right here.
Okay, I will put that as the first slide.
Okay, yeah, it's just because for the pitch that we made the last week,
Yes.
this was the suggestion from Fabian
Okay.
to go first with the problem, then with the solution, and then with the who we are, with the presentation of the company.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
yeah, but I can change the order.
Yeah.
There is no problem. Yeah.
We like to know who you are before we
Okay. Yeah,
do the
sure.
problem solution.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Okay.
then it goes the team.
Okay, here with the team, I see a great team.
Okay.
It's a wonderful picture, but I
Okay.
don't know who you are, right? Who is the CEO? Who is the CTO? What are the credentials for the team? We'd like to see the depth of the team, right? Here it's just a collection of people, so it doesn't really show to me who the members of the team are and why they're so great at what they do.
Okay.
They have a lot fewer people.
Yeah, and usually they do, usually in the team slide we only include the executive management.
Oh, really? Okay.
And not the developers and all that. What you can say about the developers,
Yep.
you can say CTO, and then right after, so you have CEO, CTO, CMO maybe,
Okay.
COO maybe, so there's maybe 3 to 4 C-level people, and then you have a box that says we have 10 developers or 5 graphic artists or whatever. That shows that you have a good sized team.
Okay.
But usually the credentials are only for the executive management.
Okay. Okay, no problem. So then goes our apps.
Okay?
Like here we mentioned like the words,
Okay?
the business model.
And so here, number 1 with the apps,
Yep.
it's really unclear to me what the relevance is for the apps with the problem you're solving. So if there's a problem and solution slide that you have, and you talk about Ingenio, for example, solving the pizza problem, what about these other apps? To me, do they have a relevance? I don't think they have a relevance. Bunky is not really relevant to the whole pizza problem, right?
No, not Bunky or Punch Game, but maybe
Yeah,
Cauca
so
Étnico.
I'm into that. In my opinion,
Okay.
the presentation should focus on the problem and the solution. So if you're saying the problem is that Colombia has the lowest PISA score and Ingenio is the solution to that problem, I only want to see Ingenio or anything else that is related to Ingenio.
Yeah.
Seeing Bunky or other things is not really relevant to the problem you're solving, right?
Okay, but maybe Canvas and Cauca Étnico and Tropical, like the educative, the other apps.
So in that case, I would say something like we have a lot of experience with educational games.
Okay.
And you list the other educational games and say, by the way, we got awards for these games, so that they see that you have a lot of good stuff that you have produced. You produce a lot of great educational content, a lot of educational games that have made an impact in the market, and you've won awards for this. So I would state it that way.
Okay.
And then in the business model slide,
Yes.
just like I was telling your friends in the group, I like to see how you're making money. So in this slide, I think I can see what the channels are, who the users are, who the clients are, but I don't see how you're making money. So what are you charging the users, if you're charging the users, or what are you charging clients? Is it a B2B play or is it a B2C play?
Okay.
If it's a B2B play, how are you charging your clients?
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
What's the monthly subscription charge? Is it a premium SaaS enterprise? What is it, right? So I like to see the details of your business model and how you're making money here.
Okay. Maybe the different type of licenses that we have.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, maybe I don't know for that.
Okay.
They have a completely different format.
So they need to move the business model back.
Yeah, for the Silicon Valley model, the order of the slides would be like the one that we have on the canvas.
Yeah, it's just that we were not ready for this, but yeah, we will change.
Okay.
Okay, so here we have the architecture,
Okay.
the traction, which is like 20 developed apps. Yeah, the money that we have made.
Mm-hmm.
And
So here,
Yeah.
Here again with your traction, in my opinion, there's a little bit of a disconnect here because you're talking about traction for SmartSoft Play in general.
Yep.
What I would be more curious about is you're talking about Ingenio because there's a problem and a solution, and the solution is Ingenio, right?
Okay.
So I would focus on Ingenio and saying how many downloads have you had, how many users are using the app or the game. So if you're a B2C model, I want to see metrics, how many active users you have daily, monthly, average revenue per user. All of the metrics from the app itself, from the game itself is really what I would like to see. And of course, any money you've made from it, which would be great.
Yeah, I agree, but we are still on development.
So yeah, if it's still under development, then you really are a very early stage, and so you can't list revenue, in my opinion, because it's a little bit like cheating.
Yeah, I know.
You can add it as a track record. So when you have you can have traction here. So what you would say is, when you're talking about the team and that you've had a great base of experience in developing apps, etc., you can say SmartSoft as a company has had revenue, has had hundreds of thousands of downloads and all that, but Ingenio as a product is still early market.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
The early product.
Okay.
Or prototype or MVP or in development.
Yeah, we are gonna launch the MVP on November.
Okay, so then I would just state that, but you can't really say traction.
Okay. Okay. So this is marketing and selling plan.
Okay. Here again, just like I told Haiti, I would like to see this broken down by year 1 and year 2. So your marketing campaigns, your SEM, SMM, your PR campaigns, your sales, all of that broken down by year 1 and year 2.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. And competitors.
Okay, so this is your competition slide, okay?
We have...
Yeah, one of the competitors I noticed is quite strong. Yeah.
Smashback. Yeah. Oh, no, okay.
eSpark, the Smashback is actually...
Yeah. Okay.
That's a pretty strong competitor. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the things that you're differentiating yourself from eSpark is not very significant because they have a lot of what you have.
Okay, we still took out some of the features, so I could make a review and see what we have, like which...
Usually for a competitive slide, we like to see that you are pretty well differentiated from your competition. So if you're going to list the features that you're separating yourself from, we like to see that you have a pretty big gap from your competition. Otherwise, they're going to say, well, how do you expect to compete? And then who is this eSpark? Do they have revenue? Are they based here in the US? Did they get funded? How fast are they growing? I mean, all these questions come up, and how big is your competition?
Okay. So what should I do?
Look at the competitive landscape again and look at the features that you're differentiating yourself with.
Okay.
And make sure that you are well differentiated from your competition.
Yes, okay.
And then your sales projection. Okay. Yeah, here again, I know that they only like to see the sales, but to me it makes me really nervous when I just see a sales projection. And I have no idea, how you're actually, are you making money, are you not making money, when are you breaking even? The P&L statement to me is a much more meaningful slide, but I respect the fact that in Colombia they're not asking you to do anything more than a sales projection.
Okay. The investment?
Yeah, so here again, I would like to see a pie chart. If you look at our sample investor deck, we have a pie chart where we say, 40% going to R&D, 40% to marketing, 20% whatever. So I'd like to see a breakdown to how the costs will be allocated, how the money will be allocated differently, and also milestones. What are you going to achieve with the $350,000 of US dollars of investment?
Okay.
Okay.
And that's it.
Okay. So yeah, I think there's a lot of room for improvement here.
Yep.
And also separating out what's SmartSoft and what's Ingenio. But you can use the achievements of SmartSoft under your team, saying the team has accomplished a lot in its past, and that's why they have a good track record for achieving good results with Ingenio.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, thank you.
So, you're welcome. So unfortunately, we are really out of time, and we've already pushed our call back. So, David, since for the mentoria, yesterday Daniel could not show up, I'm wondering whether we could combine the mentoria with the feedback about your slide deck, David.
Okay. Okay, perfect.
I don't know if you heard me. Did you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, we can.
So yesterday, David, Daniel was not able to make the mentoria session.
Yeah.
And I told him that we needed to schedule some time together to do the mentoria. So maybe we can do it with the both of you, and you can show me your investor deck in the as part of the mentoria.
Yeah, perfect.
Is that okay with you?
Yeah, okay. Perfect.
Yeah, because now we're like literally out of time and we have another call. I apologize. Everybody took a bit longer, and so by the time we got to you, we missed out. So send me some time that you and Daniel are going to be available. Maybe Monday or Tuesday of next week, and we will do the mentoring session, and I will give you all the feedback about your investor deck. Is that okay with you?
Okay, okay, perfect.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate your patience. I'm sorry you had to wait so long and that we didn't get around to it today.
Okay, thank you.
But yeah, hopefully we do it Monday or Tuesday. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Tuesday.
Pardon?
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay. I will, yeah, just send me some times that you're available. We'll put it on the calendar for Tuesday then.
Okay. I'm going to send you an email.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. All right, everybody, we are literally out of time, so have a great weekend. And by the way, the session's next week.
Thank you.
Are we skipping next week or what?
We will need to get back to them.
We will let Laura know about the agenda for next week. We're not really sure if we're going to have a session next week, but we will let Laura know.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Good weekend.